Matteo Rossi, 11th grade, and I go to Belen Jesuit Preparatory School.
Awesome. Thank you. So, all right, we'll start with, so what happened that made you realize that you needed our service?
Well, I wasn't doing so great in Algebra 2 in my math class, and I wanted to get ahead for the SAT. So I thought that I needed to take like an intensive math course. So I was like well prepared to take the math section of the SAT.
Was there like any event, like had you taken a PSAT or something, um, at the time when you figured you needed tutoring or not really?
No, it was just mainly that I wasn't doing so great in math, and that's why I decided that I need to like reinforce my math.
So would you say that at the time, was math not your strength? Like, was that your weakness at the time or?
Yeah, it definitely was. It was like in the PSATs, like normally I'd have like 50 points less in math compared to reading.
And so has that always been the case?
Um, in the PSATs, yeah.
Cool. And so I guess was it a surprise to you that you didn't do that well on the math PSAT or no? Like you kind of expected that.
No, it was a surprise because normally like before 11th grade, I usually tended to do very well in math.
What do you think happened or like that guy in the way on the test? You know, like what was your biggest frustration with it?
I just wasn't used to how the questions were like asked and the type of questions that were on the test.
And then you also said that I guess something happened in 11th, like the math
Yeah,
wasn't going as well.
yeah, I wasn't really understanding Algebra 2 that well, so that also played into it.
Got you. Okay. So it's basically a mix of that year math wasn't that too great for you, and then the SAT words things really weird and asks like questions that like you don't really learn at school. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Nice. And okay, so if like what kind of problem would that have caused you if you didn't improve your score? Like
Well,
why would that be an issue for you?
because I was trying to get like a good SAT score, like a high SAT score. So if I didn't improve on my math, it would be holding me back from getting a high SAT score.
Why do you need a high SAT score?
Well, to get into college, like to get into a good college,
Did you have any colleges in mind that you wanted to get into?
I was thinking like UF, UC Berkeley, something of that sort.
So you needed your scores to be a lot higher?
Yeah, and also to ensure that I get bright futures.
That's right. Cool. How'd you guys end up hearing about us?
Diego Leon was I was at school one day and Diego Leon told me that he was taking piece of pie, and I asked him what it was, and he told me that it was like this math class that was for SAT, and he told me that it raised his SAT score in math by a lot. So I decided to join.
So Laura, that was Mateo's idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually brought it up and he said that some of his friends at a school were taking this course that was like a math intensive course.
Nice.
And we had already discussed using up this summer to try to get ahead because during the year was going to be more difficult, and especially because this class is doing the digital SAT coming up in the spring.
Right.
So we wanted to try and see if maybe he could get it out of the way in the fall.
All right, cool. That's probably why you put in the work, man, because usually when the student wants it, they do the work. So makes sense. So before the tutoring, Matteo, what was your expectation of the virtual group environment?
I guess I expected it to be a little more like less intensive or disconnected, I guess, from like one on one.
So it was okay. So you were more worried about the group aspect, not the virtual, or both?
No, like the virtual part. Like I thought that maybe like since it was virtual, it wouldn't work out so well.
Why?
Because like in the past when I've done virtual like classes and stuff, it wasn't so easy to grasp the content because it wasn't one on like person to person. It was like over the screen, so it was like harder to grasp the content.
Well, so what was different about what we did?
I feel like the class was like made to be virtual, so it functioned very well. Like we were always like on the same problems. Everybody was on the same worksheet. It wasn't that like the teacher, for example, was on like a PowerPoint and the students were on a different worksheet. Like everybody was on the same worksheet, working out the same problem at the time and breaking it down one up like one by one.
Did they keep you engaged?
Yeah, we were always working on a problem, making sure that we understood everything fully.
How'd they make sure you knew your answers?
We would type them in the chat, and then if you got the answer wrong, they would help us like understand how to do it.
And how about the length of the class? Did that scare you at all?
Yeah, at the beginning, yeah, 4 hours is like a long time for a class. So yeah, it was kind of scary.
How'd you manage?
I just powered through, like, because I realized that putting in the work would end up paying off in the long run.
That's what I like to hear, my man. You got to power through. Laura, what'd you expect of, or did you have any apprehensions about the virtual group or the class length?
Yeah, I actually did. I actually did because over the pandemic, when COVID hit and these kids had to go into virtual classes, it just didn't work well. I saw how de-engaged they were, how they were kind of like falling behind. You would go into their rooms and you would see that the teacher was talking on the screen and they were looking at their iPhones or whatever. It's just very difficult to remain engaged when you're just staring at a screen and you can easily distract. So I was worried about that. But also we had Matteo going to Italy. So if it wouldn't have been virtual, he wouldn't have been able to take advantage of it. So the fact that it was virtual was the one thing that allowed us to actually do the summer intensive. And while he went to Italy, and you guys do it really well. I mean, the way you have it organized with the individual chats and with the group chats, it really helps because they're in Mateo's case, he's very hesitant to speak in group chats. So at least he had his own space where he knew it was just him and his tutors and myself. So if he had to answer or ask something, he would do it that way. So I think the way you have it organized is very efficient and effective.
Kudos for doing this in Europe.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about that. Oh man. Awesome. This makes it even better. Matteo, how would you describe the service to another student? Like, what should they know?
Well, first they have to know that, well, you're going to be putting in a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of homework. There's going to be a class a week, sometimes even 2 classes a week when you're getting closer to the exam. So the first thing they have to know is that it's a lot of work, but also they have to know that if they put in all the work and they really try, that their SAT scores are going to come up, because it's basically like just you're grinding the SAT. Like,
You become the test.
yeah.
I need to pull up data on like how many problems you guys did, man. I feel like you took like, I don't know, like 20 practice tests or something like that.
I think I took 20. It was 21, not counting the mocks.
You think that was the key?
Yeah, definitely.
I have to tell you, the parents that he was staying with in Italy, one day they called me and they're like, Laura, I am sorry, but we told the Matteo to stop. I mean, he's been studying math for like 20 hours. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, I mean, he hasn't left the room. He woke up this morning and it's like 11 p.m. He has not left the room. And he's been like at math all day long. So we told him to stop. I'm like, no, don't tell him to stop. Leave him alone. This is what he needs to do. And he was just taking practice tests that day to prepare.
That's awesome. I'm so glad it worked out, because if it didn't, man, that was so much work. That's awesome, dude. I can't say it enough. I commend you for doing that. I mean, while you're in Italy, that's no easy feat, man. So congrats, dude.
Thank you.
Well, so wait, what was the result? I almost forgot to ask. What was the result that we helped you get, man? What was your final score and the improvement from the PSAT?
So I got a 740 on the math section of the SAT, and in the PSAT, The one that I took before taking my first SAT, I got like a 560.
Nice, bro. So that's like what, 180?
And he actually with you, if you recall, in one of the mock exams, like the actual PSATs that he took with you, he went up to 760 in math one time.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, that's normal actually. He could still, even just from taking the test, there is a normal margin of error that, as you can call it that, or variation. His score range is probably, I think it's plus or minus 30 for the math. So it would be, if you look at his score, it'll probably say it's between a 710 and a 770. So if he just took it again, he could even take one test and get a 770, without like studying, So
yeah, the plan is for him to take all the SATs. Well, there are only 2 left, but to take all the SATs up until it becomes digital. And even when it's digital, he may just take one to try.
Yeah.
But hopefully by December he has good scores in both math and English and writing, and he can super score, or if he does it all at once.
Yeah, man. I'm hopeful. I have a feeling. I have a good feeling. So, so Matteo, what has this result meant for you? Like, what has it enabled you to do now?
Well, now that I got all my math studying like through the summer, now I can just focus on reading and writing for now for the upcoming tests, and I don't have to worry about covering math material because I know everything. So maybe like before the test, I'll go over, see if there's any problems that I don't know how to do, and I'll learn those. But for the most part, I know everything that could ever come up on the exam for the math section.
Nice. That's great, man. Must be like a relief.
Yeah.
Cool. I got another one for you. So how could the program be improved for future students?
Yeah, probably maybe instead of the homework like by the week, maybe have it so that the homework, like you have a set of homeworks like throughout the week. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like that it's set up that you do a specific homework every day for that week, so then that you don't end up doing like all the homework the day before because you're being procrastinating.
It's funny now that you mentioned that. Well, then the hard part about that is that every student gets like different homework, right? Because we make it like what do you call it? We tailor it. But we actually did do something new now, where it's like, I'm not saying that you have to, and that's the other thing. Everyone has a different schedule, especially during the year, so that gets tricky for me to be like, well, it has to be done today. But we do, as soon as we give you the homework, we tell you have to give us your plan. So you have to look at your schedule and you have to go, okay, I'm going to do these two today. And it's exactly for what you're saying, is that we noticed that the students who, for the most part, did the best were the ones who were able to not procrastinate. Some were expert procrastinators. You might be one of them, you're you're a beast. And I'm not going to lie. When I was a kid, I was like that too. But I'm not, I'm the complete opposite now. And, most of the students who do really well, they tell me that it was because they managed their time well. And, so yeah, we tell them, hey, give us your schedule. And then they'll do, at least, 2 to 3 assignments per day instead of 12 in one day.
Yeah, that's what I told him to do every time. And when he did it, it worked better.
Yeah.
He needed difficult because he was remote for me. He was, I could not help him kind of like get organized. So he could sneak out sometimes and just do it all in one day, like that day that they yelled at him for not having stopped. But anyway, that's a great idea that you guys implemented that.
Yeah, I appreciate the feedback. That's good. I'm glad more, I've had a few people tell us that. That's why we started implementing it. We're like, all right, it's a good idea. Well, kudos to you, man. Not only did you improve 180 points, but you did it cramming, man. You in Italy, like that's the craziest part to me. It's still that, to be honest. So yeah, but don't keep cramming. Stop doing that. Don't learn like me. I learned the hard way. I learned in college. I got to college and I was like, oh, I can't be doing this anymore because it doesn't work. You know, at a certain point, it stops working. You're like, okay. But yeah, man, thank you so much. I appreciate both of you coming on here today.
He really enjoyed it. He's a man of a few words, but I know that he enjoyed it and he was very pleased to take your course. And you really do a great job. I told you during and after. I was very pleased with the way you organized it. You are very charismatic. You know how to handle these boys. So I think you have a great program, Renan.
Thank you. We appreciate it. The team appreciates it. So it's a lovely day. So hopefully you guys can enjoy the rest of today.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch. If you go up more, man, or if you don't, whatever it is, you get into a college, please reach out. I like to keep in touch with the students.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.